Hello, dear Olga. Our presentation will be based on our final report and it deals with teachers and teachers' relationships. The participants were Javiera Álvarez, Natalia Cortés, Matías Torres, Lizardo Toledo, y Constanza Mesa. Okay, as an introduction, I would like to say that in the Chilean educational context, schools have differences related to beliefs, values, and purposes that each one of them has as their educative philosophy. In other words, Elizabeth Hinch, in her article School Culture and Change, refers to these aspects as school culture, which is developed and shaped by the interactions between students, teachers, staff members, and everybody who is involved in the school community. Okay, the purpose of this report is to tell an issue related with the school environment and the people within it. As English pedagogy students at Universidad Alberto Hurtado, we have been involved and immersed into the school context attending Experiencia Laboral 1, course for observational purposes based on just experience and different situations. Based on that fact, our work it has been decided to focus on one of the school's culture's component, the relationships or interactions between teachers and teachers, because it can be considered as a key element to understand school realities and school cultures. This observation will be carried out over 3 weeks approximately, that or where the observations were carried out. It has been focused on 2 educational institutions. The first one is Colegio Polivalente Santa María de Quilicura and Escuela particular República Alemana Federal. The observations were made when teachers spent time on the teacher's lounge or in the office, in some cases in the classrooms. Okay, in school description, in this framework, we are going to start with Colegio Polivalente Santa María de Quilicura. It is located in Quilicura on Santiago of Chile, and it receives more than 2,000 students approximately from the 40% to the 60% of the students are under vulnerability conditions. Even though it is a subsidized school, this institution goes from prep school to cuarto medio of high school, and the students can study a technical specialty as administration and accounting, plus scientific humanities education. The major part of the staffs are young teachers, and it has been observed that they have a cordial and solid relationships among them, which will be driven by the age closeness and the similar personalities that they share, or maybe because of the amount of time that they have to spend together on the teacher's room, in difference with the ones who have their own office. However, all their teachers have a cordial and respectful relationships with young teachers too. Besides, there are also prejudices in terms of the methodology used when they are teaching a class, but this depends on the age of the teachers in charge. Moreover, in teachers' room they have several rules of coexistence made by themselves, and these rules have to do mainly with the mutual respect respect among them, and the caring they have to show with the space that they share, in this case in the teacher's room. On the other hand, in Escuela particular República Federal Alemana Federal, I'm sorry, it is located in La Cisterna on Santiago of Chile, and it receives more than 400 students, approximately, in which there are 49% and also 59% of vulnerability conditions. Even though, as the same as the previous liceo, it is a subsidized school. The school goes from prep school to octavo básico. And concerning to the teachers relationships, it has been observed that the teacher staff is a mixture of different ages, and they respect each other and have a cordial relationship among them. Therefore, they tend to share whenever is possible, and besides, there is no visible rivalities among them, which encourage teachers to act as a teamwork, a very cohesive teamwork when is needed to. They even show moral support to each other when the situations require it, showing a bond of commitment that the group.
I will explain the method part and the literature review of this presentation. And so our focus was on the relationship between teachers and teachers. We decided to observe descriptive information about both schools, concerning mainly their social context. From that point, we focused on teachers' attitudes shown during their different interactions. And the interactions we could observe more took place in the teacher's room, as in their free time, as in their break time, which was shorter. And meanwhile we were observing, we also were taking notes in order to get holistic vision about what we were experiencing. And therefore, once the observations were finished and notes were taken, we analyzed the gathered information, which allowed us to understand the relationship among teachers and teachers. And to support what we could identify from what we observed, we work with 4 authors in order to support what we identify. So these authors are Antunes, Benito, Hinde, and Santos Guerra. In the case of Antunes, we work with him because he states that cooperative and collaborative teachers' work has been sparsely analyzed. He suggests several methodologies to improve collaborative teachers' work. And secondly, Benito, because he argues the idea of the powerful role that teachers play within a meaningful learning process. Moreover, how their attitudes, how the teachers' attitudes affect in the development of a harmonic environment. Thirdly, we worked with Hinde, who presents some of the key factors which influence school culture and thereby student development, which are linked to the relationship teachers build among themselves. And finally, we work with Santos Guerra, who contributes with the notion of damage caused by gossip among teachers and among all school staff. So that were the authors in who our work is supported. And to continue, my classmate will proceed to explain what we identify in depth.
As it was mentioned in the school's description, it could be observed that there is a considerable amount of young teachers in Colegio Polivalente Santa María de Quilicura who spend most of their time apart from the older teachers. Regarding this situation, in some opportunities it is possible to hear comments about class methodologies used by some older teachers. As an example of the previous point, we can refer to the judgment a young teacher made about how a certain older teacher developed antiquated class methodologies when teaching. He explained that the teacher was too much rigid with students, so the children didn't like his classes. Besides, he would be boring because of the way the teacher was taught to teach during his formation, his professional formation, which was very different from the methodologies of a modern teacher. However, it could be observed that the judge teacher was not that rigid and boring when performing, as the younger teacher said, because his classes had many efforts to develop different activities where students could interact with each other, performing a student-centered class. Well, concerning to this relationship produced among teachers, Santos Guerra declares that los cotilleos hacen público lo privado. Las relaciones íntimas entre los miembros de la comunidad, las acusaciones de trato privilegiado, las acusaciones de ambición, las críticas a las innovaciones, son temas que circulan por conductos informales de comunicación. En el centro, la murmuración genera un clima negativo. En el centro, ya que siempre se produce en perjuicio de los ausentes, a través de la censura de sus acciones o intenciones. In this way, the prejudice made by the young teacher upon the older teacher could lead to develop a detrimental work environment, although it is an isolated event on this school community. In spite of this prejudice which could be caused also by the differences of age between among teachers, it could be observed that older teachers do have a cordial and respectful relationship with young teachers. But young teachers have a friendlier relationship among them. According to this aspect of teachers' relationship, we consider that this trustful, respectful and cordial environment among teachers encourages a good effect in terms of work development. This view can be supported by Benito, who states that es evidente que cuanto más agradable sea el ambiente laboral, incluyendo las relaciones con compañeros, superiores, etc., más a gusto desarrollarán sus ideas los individuos. Incluso supone una buena base para seguir aprendiendo de las experiencias compartidas. In this framework, one of the older teachers of Colegio Polivalente Santa María de Quilicura declares that he does not constantly share with other teachers in teachers' lounge because he is also inspector, so he has his own office apart from their common space. Besides, this teacher also says his personality is different from others. He describes himself as a lonely person who likes to have his own space and time. Nevertheless, he maintains a kind and respectful relationship with all teachers. Furthermore, we were allowed to observe teachers' lounge, where certain rules of coexistence created by the teachers themselves existed there. Some of them were: do not leave dirty dishes, keep the doors closed, keep the room's floor clean, and refill the bottle with water every time is needed. In other words, these rules are focused on developing mutual respect among teachers and the caring they should have with the space they share, in this case, teachers' lounge. This with the purpose of avoiding misunderstandings and disruptions on the comfortable environment they have
This
built.
is the conclusion about our task, the relationship teachers and teachers in the school that we could observe. The conclusion that we made is that the relationship among teachers generates an impact on how they perceive each other. That is to say, the connection or bond between teachers is essential to have a cordial and respectful background. Furthermore, a positive, supportive, and healthy relationship enables a better environment to work. So we could observe this atmosphere at the schools that we were attending, because the relationship that the colleagues had, it was very supportive and very lovely. But however, there will always be teachers who have differences, such as age and gossiping. That these facts could carry out a little bit of sourness among the teachers, and they could provoke a little bit of issues in the environment. I think another fact was the methodology that they used to teach is kind of problem between the teachers, because they were like gossiping behind, and it was difficult. As trainees teachers observing school culture, we believe that a cordial environment is beneficial to work, and it is useful not to have a relationship with the teachers, but to the whole school culture, because if the relationship of the teachers is good, they are going to communicate each other in order to help the students. So it's beneficial to everyone. In addition, the satisfaction and affection that the teachers can have if they are happier, if they are always with a good mood, this going to help the whole environment in order to help the students and the parents, and the treatment that they are going to have is going to be cordial, beneficial, respectful, and many more facts. Another point that we would like to mention is that if they collaborate between them, there is going to be a fruitful product at the end. So we think that the teachers relationship should be cordial, respectful, healthy, and we think that there has to be a relationship in order to help the students, and we could observe this at the school that we attended. So in order to end this presentation, we would like to ask a few questions about the teachers relationship. And these questions we made are: as a future teachers, what would you do if you were inserted in an uncomfortable and unfriendly environment? The other question is, what would be your attitude in these points that I presented, and what would you do to change